I've made you speak very macro when I think what's so great about what you also do is giving people the tools to day to day kind of understand, their own economic health, financial health, and just like what they can do. Are there any tips before, don't panic buy, which is the opposite of what I was like, if you got a big purchase, maybe make it. That's what I was saying last year. But also, again, I don't study this. But is there any tips or things you think people should keep in mind to sort of weather this Trumpian storm until, again, we can do the revolution?
I think the most important thing to remember that a recession is just a collection of macroeconomic indicators, and it doesn't really matter whether or not we are quote unquote technically in a recession. By some metrics, we sort of already are. By some metrics, we are likely to be. And it's also important to remember that irrespective of Trump, recessions typically happen on a pretty predictable cyclical basis. So at some point, we will be in another one. But it is important to remember that some people have already been in a personal recession for quite some time. Some people were in a personal recession under Biden. And so all of, the DNC coming out and pointing to a bunch of charts that say things have never been better doesn't resonate if that's not the case for you. The most important thing to do is to remember that ultimately, I would say three things. One, if you are in a very precarious position, in terms of employment. So for example, maybe you are just starting your career, or maybe you work for the federal government, or you have reason to suspect that there's fluctuation with your job. Do everything you can to bring in an additional source of income right now. Try to, or at least prepare yourself, essentially be ready to be in job search mode if that is necessary. I would not overly, if you are regularly doing something like contributing to a 401k or saving for retirement, which if you can, you ideally should be, I would highly, highly, highly discourage you from stopping that and stockpiling cash, which is what a lot of people want to do. Generally speaking, the entire point of investing in the market is to do so in a consistent long-term way, regardless of market indicators.
Right.
And that is going to depend on investing when the market is down, and even very down. It's important to remember, as far as it pertains to recessions too, that a lot of people get very rich during recessions because they are able to buy up a lot of things, be they equities or bonds or actual real estate or whatever the case may be. So don't suddenly panic and abandon your investing strategy if you have one. And then third, try to consume economic news in a way that is productive, but not overly catastrophizing. I personally listen to the Financial Times news briefing every single morning. It is incredibly neutral and incredibly I would say almost comically detached from the political or human rights implications of anything they're talking about. But they are very good for day-to-day economic news.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.